Attention gamers. There's a famous idiom among smucking fart asses that goes,
Hate the player, hate the game.
which when you think about it is the absolute reverse when it comes to League of Legends, as I don't hate the game, I hate the players who play it, and I actually think Riot deserves a break as they've been hard at work, leadership heads down in the office, making sure they capture and retain the top talent, researching what their player base wants, to create a mobile game gacha client that shoves overpriced microtransactions down your throat. But when it comes to the gameplay, League is bis like the knees of the bees, the Pornhub of MOBAs, but its player base has just become the tainted turd in the fishbowl. Let's summarize my recent experience on League, which started with this game. This guy didn't want to support for me because I didn't play someone who looks like this guy. This guy hated this guy because he got ganked while proxying WoW, and this guy didn't want to be a part of that. He gave up and AFK'd in his jungle, leaving us 4 to try and fight these 5. Turns out he was chat restricted and provoked him through pings, but also pinged him, who was already mad at me, which made it so now him and him wanted to lose on purpose while I wanted to win. He fell behind and he just sucked ass. Let's see what that actually looked like, as you can see immediately when locking in Ariana Grande.
OMG, why? Why Seraphine?
We get in game and Singed is doing Singed things, which ends up getting him first blood, and I'm thinking that's enough to give me a half chub, but considering he is already flaming my team when things went well for us, I just knew I was going to meet a new anger-induced psychopath soon enough. Down south we got level 2 first, which is typically the green light to engage, but I quickly learned why this Kench was on the bench, as he decides that deep-throating a tower shot would be an effective strategy, which he later blamed this death on me not playing a marksman, and I'm thinking there is no champ I could have played at level 2 that could have gone back in time and stopped your mom from getting impregnated from her cousin. That said, this catfish definitely packed a few bibs for the enemy because he was planning to keep them well fed, but the idiotic aggression actually worked well for my tweet-mongering ass as I secured an early double. We received an early gank from the ruined simp, which was dank until Dantes came down wanting to tell us about all the SpongeBob stuffies he humped on vacation, and while our jungler died, it's worth noting that me and my frenemy ended up becoming the Deborah Vance to my Ava Daniels down here, as we were becoming a duo not to be dicked with. I of course am just a beacon of positivity, as you all know, but unfortunately my Singed apparently failed to understand the part of the proxy manual where it attracts enemy players to attack you when you are more overextended than a dislocated elbow, but I thought it's okay because it allowed us to get more objective pressure down bot.
Bruh.
That said, my love life was peaking as my support was the one eating on our dates, yet I was the one getting incredibly well fed. Unfortunately, our top continued to be more pushed up than a Victoria's Secret model's titties, and it's of no surprise that he started getting ganked on repeat, and I guess on whatever planet he grew up on. This warranted the following dialogue.
You see how their jungler is doing his job, Viego? You see that, right? Ganking, getting objectives, it's important. You let the rest of us know when it finally clicks, you dipshit.
I myself hit the first ripple in my relationship, as after my support whiffed his entire combo and I died, he of course questioned my gameplay while revealing that he had the tools to save me, but for as bad as that was, what went down top was nuclear. Our jungler saw an opportunity to get the first turret for our team, which should be all champagne and sunshine, but was actually the last straw for our proxying piece of shit. He decided he was done and he would now serve a Rift residency for the rest of the game as the asshole who AFK steals all of our junglers' camps and never participates in any team activities. This meant the 4 of us would have to work together against 5, but things were going well and we were still securing objectives as we were big time ahead at this point in the game. Unfortunately, Viego doesn't understand that the biggest skill you can develop in solo queue is the one where you don't continue to piss off the guy who is actively trying to make you lose, which sparked some fun comments, but he also decided to ping my support, which was enough to trigger the fat fucking insecurity alarm system inside his useless head. This resulted in him now running straight into enemies and me being the idiot who tried to attend the team fight and learned that it was actually an act of defiance that I didn't understand at the time, which left me cosplaying Piltover and Arcane. My support issued a threat that his behavior could get worse, while the enemy was now wondering which one of us pissed in Singed Cheerios this morning, and thus the first game I didn't hate, but I sure as shit hated the players. I was ecstatic to get away from that team and to meet a new group of players, maybe make some new friends. Side note, I was incredibly fortunate in this one to have none other than an Elise support who I would like to highlight her contributions to fights throughout the game with this example. Thankfully misfortune in the current meta is like a cactus, she can thrive in the shittiest environments, so despite the itsy bitchy spider who I wish could crawl back up his mom's JJ, I did get the win. The next game I finally had a normal support, but unfortunately my mid laner decided that Ezreal was the right pick for the job, and so fast forward through 20 minutes of my life he was 1-8 and this was my jungler. The very next game, let's send it back. This time I'm playing the most traditional nuclear family 9 to 5 working Catholic voting law abiding citizen of an ADC, but this time I get a Nidalee support. I'm cool with it except for the fact that the Titan submarine is back in the news, the headline being he is 69 times more effective as a support and he is also dicking on my parade while the chick who sometimes identifies as a cat is flicking her own bean down here. We did get a gank, but it turned out just about as poorly as you could possibly imagine, but I'm thinking I've been known to play off meta before, so maybe we just have to peer through the kitchen window and let this chick cook. Unfortunately, when it comes to League of Legends, you either quit or live long enough to become the villain, and after the streak of games I had, I was tilted just enough to open my mouth. This was obviously a mistake, as my criticisms of her pick and her absolute absence of any value was met by her very creatively saying the same thing about me. You say tomato, I say you're a useless fucking moron, but here's where I had the biggest misplay of the video. You see, my most toxic trait as a League of Legends player is to see my teammates in the area and make the mistake of thinking they are actually setting something up, so naturally I run up here to try and bait them into getting ganked without realizing that my jungler first has to jerk off to completion in the bushes and my support wouldn't use her single support ability on me, because remember, she hates my guts since I spoke badly about her AFK tank Nidalee tech. And it turns out when you play a meta ADC in solo queue where your support system is more absent in your life than a Yuumi main's biological father, this is typically how the rest of the game feels. This makes me want to play a mage next so that I can have the tools to protect myself, and sure enough the peanut gallery is already providing the opinion that I asked for, but I could give two shits when this pick can do this. Also, I think this would be a good opportunity for me to address all the comments asking for me to give my opinion on the war and politics as if they've mistaken me for Asmongold or Hassan. So as a League player I will say that I ran double mage bot because the amount of tilt it causes the enemy support is real. And also I like being able to do this to a full health ADC with less than 2 items. Anyways, the very last game in this super enjoyable ranked experience consisted of me seeing Lulu, so I locked in Trist only for her to lock in Morg, and thus at the start of the game we got talked out what happened like a couple in therapy, and she decided it would be best if we just gave up. We got in a few early spitting matches with the enemy team, but no deaths on either side, just a bit of backseating from her end. Then a board certified shitfest as breakout bot lane, and the BDSM shackled sex slave starts absolutely popping off as the fight extends over the wall, and I'm certainly not going to be the one to point out that Morg flashing over the wall with no mana just to cast no abilities and feed a kill in this otherwise great fight was a mistake. Instead I decided to set the example of how I want this community to act by addressing her, and then sucking her off so hard in chat for the rest of the game to see if I can turn this flight risk into a friend. Sure enough, we make a little bit of windshitter ragu together, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, as I continue to glaze her like a Krispy Kreme donut. She gets caught by Bran, but I swoop in to be the hero here, and then I continue killing this bitch with kindness. That said, the second something goes wrong for us, she is very quick to point out that I am entirely at fault, but I'm still tucking my own scrotum into my butthole so that she can feel like the man in this relationship, because I know if I can keep our team's egomaniac in check, the enemy teams will prevail, and sure enough their Diana is ready to give up. We continue bullying the slow kid, aka anyone who plays Yasuo and League of Legends, and so even though I am the one who mechanically is making some mistakes that I've asked my editor to keep out of the video, we end up getting the advantage, because while she is subtly still shitting on me, my editor types even more compliments to her, as he knows how to behave in an abusive relationship. He's used to working for a tyrant after all. And so that's how you manipulate the weak egos in this game, and that, my friends, is why when it comes to League of Legends, don't hate the game, hate the players who play it. Use my WoW Rested XP link for the best mop leveling guides with the biggest discount if you play WoW, link below. Rav out.